Okay, I believe we are live. Welcome to the weekly live chat where we talk about all things MMA. We're going to talk about Giga Chikadze versus Edson Barboza and what's next for Giga. We're going to talk about, I know you guys are going to want to hear about this topic, so this is going to be like my one video where I really cover it because I didn't want to give any more airtime to this subject than necessary, so I didn't do any videos on it up until this point. We're going to talk about Tyron Woodley versus the YouTuber and how Tyron Woodley is an embarrassment to himself and MMA. We're going to talk about Darren Till versus Derek Brunson, some predictions. We're going to talk to you guys. I want to see what you guys think is going to happen in that fight. And also Darren Till's title ramifications against Israel Adesanya with the win on Saturday. We're also going to talk about UFC 268, how stacked it is. It seems like that's a subject every single live chat. We talk about that. Then we're going to talk about UFC 269, what's already been announced, what's to come, and whatever else pops up. I'll answer all your MMA-related questions. Do me a favor, if you're here live, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Make sure to like the stream. Helps grow the channel. If you're watching the replay, do the same. Make sure to like the video. I really appreciate it. So first off, fill the entire chat with any questions you want to have answered. But first off, I want to get this out of the way. Let's talk about Tyron Woodley versus Jake Paul, which I know a lot of you guys are going to ask about it anyway. There was a few questions last night on my Dana White Contender Series. And I just know you guys do care about what I think about that particular thing. Even though I don't like to talk about it all that much, I figured this was perfect to cover within the live chat so I don't have to make a dedicated video about it. And yes, I saw the fight. And Tyron Woodley should be embarrassed of himself. I mean, Tyron Woodley, and it's really is a shame. And let me pull up his resume real quick because Tyron Woodley I've watched for a very, very long time. Probably longer than some, maybe a little bit shorter than some. I watched a lot of Strikeforce back in the day. Not too crazy, but let's see what I saw in Strikeforce. I think I saw him versus Tarek Safadine. I saw him versus Paul Daly. I saw him versus Jordan Mean. I saw him versus Nate Marquardt is the one that I really remember. And I actually individually remember every single of Woodley's UFC fights. I saw them all live when they happened. And he was a guy who made such a career resurgence. A lot of people don't realize this, but that last fight within Strikeforce, which was on the Luke Rockhold, Tim Kennedy card, the KO that he suffered against Nate Marquardt was one of the most vicious KOs that I've ever seen in my entire life. Brutal. By the way, guys, I think I already said this, but just in case I didn't, fill the chat with questions. I'm going to talk about this for a minute. As soon as I'm done talking about this, we'll go into some of the other topics, and I'll get to some of your questions. Also, you guys can now become a member of the channel and get access to exclusive emojis and loyalty badges next to your name. Also, behind the scenes look, and you guys can support the channel that way. There's a join button down below, but also there's a link in the description to become a member. It's only a couple dollars. It's super cheap, and it's an easy way to help support the channel. So back to the Tyron Woodley Jake Paul. That KO by Nate Marquardt was one of the most brutal KOs I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. And that was his final fight before Strikeforce closed down. And he entered the UFC. He had that amazing KO over Jay Haran. I want to say Jay Haran stepped in on short notice, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. It was a perfect right hand, hurt him badly, and that was back when Woodley seemed like he was more aggressive. And then he goes on to fight Josh Koscheck, he goes on to fight Jake Shields next. He loses by split decision. First off, how underrated is Jake Shields? I know he didn't have a fan-friendly style. He never looked super impressive. But he has some wins over some top quality guys within the welterweight division, which is just absolutely insane. So he loses to Jake Shields by a split decision. I don't remember that fight all that much. I remember it happening, but I remember it being relatively uneventful, like a typical Jake Shields fight. Then he goes on to beautifully KO Josh Koscheck. And the Josh Koscheck KO was just filthy. Lands a nasty right hand, sleeps him out cold. Next fight, he fights Carlos Condit. The fight did not really play out all that much. I think it was the very beginning of the second round. He throws a heavy leg kick. Carlos Condit tears up his knee. And the fight was over. And Tyron Woodley, after that fight, was asking for a title shot. He said, Carlos Condit was top ranked or whatever, one of the best guys in the division. I want a title shot after that. Then after that, he fought Rory McDonald. And that fight against Rory McDonald was a glimpse of what he looks like today, almost in a way. He threw nothing. He was kept on the outside. Rory McDonald was just peppering him with strikes. It was just a terrible look for Woodley. He looked terrible in that fight. That was at UFC 174 in June of 2014. Then he took a short notice fight against Dong Young Kim and gets a beautiful KO when Dong Young Kim throws a spinning technique, catches him with a right hand. He beats Kelvin Gastelum by split decision following that. I actually thought he lost that fight. Then he goes on. He was supposed to fight Johnny Hendricks next. And Johnny Hendricks, you guys all know, has a weight cutting issue. And he had a weight cutting issue that week. He pulled out of the fight. It was supposed to be a number one contender fight. I believe that was actually on the Gus DC card for the either vacant belt or interim belt or whatever it was at the time. But after that fight, he said, you know what? I'm waiting out for a title shot. So he goes inactive from January of 2015 all the way till July of 2016 when he finally gets his title shot. So he sits out for over a year and a half. He fights Robbie Lawler and just destroys Robbie Lawler, which pained me. Because Robbie Lawler is one of my favorite fighters, and I really wanted him to win that fight. He got destroyed. Then he goes to defend his belt against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He fights to a draw. Wonderboy Thompson, before the fight, was already basically annoyed at the champion. Everyone thought Wonderboy was going to go out there and win. And he fought to a draw. And it wasn't that great of a fight. It is what it is. There's not much to say about that fight. Then they said, okay, let's run this back. Everyone said, okay, Wonderboy Thompson's going to win again. It was another split decision. Decision for Woodley, beats Wonderboy Thompson in the rematch. Another boring fight similar to the first one. Then he goes on to fight Damian Maia, which is funny because, and I'm going through all this history just so you guys know in case you weren't really watching then, but he fights Damian Maia. Damian Maia fought Jorge Masvidal right before that, and the winner of that fight goes to get the next title shot. So Damian Maia wins. Damian Maia was next in line for a title shot. Woodley fights Damian Maia, stuffs every takedown, another boring fight, and Woodley wins by decision. Unanimous decision, was a clear-cut win. Then he goes on to fight Darren Till. And it was similar to the Wonderboy incidents, where a lot of people thought Darren Till coming into that fight was going to win the fight against Woodley. They thought he was the next guy in line and was going to dethrone Woodley easily. He drops Darren Till in the second round that submits him with a Darce choke. For Woodley's best performance as champion. Okay, that was his best performance, and it looked like almost like Woodley was about to turn a corner. And then, next thing you know, there was talk of the Colby Covington fight. For whatever reason, it didn't happen. Kamaru Usman gets the next title shot. Now, guys, I know you have to take my word for this, but I'm always honest about my picks back then. And I knew Kamaru Usman, and a lot of people didn't think Kamaru Usman was going to beat Woodley. I know it's weird to say that now, but a lot of people thought Woodley was going to destroy Kamaru Usman. I saw Kamaru Usman coming. I thought he was very talented. I picked him to destroy Woodley. That was literally my analysis of the fight. I thought Kamaru Usman was better than Woodley everywhere except explosiveness. And sure enough, Kamaru Usman goes out there, controls him, takes him down, beats him up on the feet, beats him up in the clinch. Woodley's gun shy, doesn't throw much, and he loses his title. Then he goes on to fight Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns was a short notice replacement. And Gilbert Burns beats him, takes him down, roughs him up on the feet, out-staminas him. And Woodley doesn't throw much. And after that Gilbert Burns fight, I was simultaneously saying that Woodley should retire, but at the same time, I was defending Woodley in a way because these guys he's fighting are killers. Gilbert Burns and Usman, I feel like I saw them ahead of their times, and I respected them more than they had. The level of respect they had throughout the fans at that point in time. Then he goes on to fight Colby Covington. Another shit performance. And that's when I was like, okay, it's time for Woodley to retire. He's lost 3 in a row. He's fought killers, but he gets stopped by Colby due to injury in the 5th round. He goes on to fight Vicente Luque, and finally he actually lets his hands go, but he gets stopped by Vicente Luque. So he loses 4 in a row. His last, 4 fights, he doesn't let his hands go except the Luque fight. And now it's like, what is going to happen to Woodley now? He gets cut from the UFC. And now I'm getting to the topic that you guys actually want to hear about probably. because I feel like a lot of people were asking about this. And Ben Askren takes on Jake Paul, gets knocked out in the first round. Ben Askren and Woodley are very good friends. Woodley talks and talks and talks before the fight. I'm going to murder this dude, and I'm going to destroy him. And I've heard it before. I heard it before the Usman fight. I heard it before the Gilbert Burns fight. I definitely heard it before the Colby Covington fight, where he didn't throw anything. And it's disgusting. It's not only that he was not fighting, it was that he's not even trying. It didn't seem like to me in some of those fights, earlier UFC fights before he got cut. He goes into this Jake Paul fight, and I thought, you guys asked me for my prediction. I said, I think that Woodley wins this fight. I said, Woodley's been training and striking forever. Paul's no elite striker by any means. Woodley has nasty power, explosiveness. He's better than anyone that Paul has ever fought. I said he wins this fight. Woodley went out there, and no matter what, the point I was getting to by going over Woodley's resume, I kind of got off topic there for a second, or got out of, I didn't go in the order I wanted to go in. But Woodley had my respect. Even though his last 4 fights were shitty, he was a very good welterweight champion, and he fought legit guys, even if the fights weren't that good. To beat Darren Till, Damian Maia, Wonderboy Thompson once, and then a draw the other time, to knock out Robbie Lawler. All quality wins as a welterweight champion. And I think, he had a legitimate resume, and people should respect him, even if he did lose those last 4 fights. He was getting older, whatever, the competition was catching up to him. But he goes out there against Jake Paul, and he doesn't throw anything. I know he knocked Jake Paul down or hurt him one time, but for the majority of the fight, he threw absolutely nothing. And I hate to even give this stuff airtime, because you guys know me, and I get it. If you enjoy these freak show fights, I have no problem with you enjoying them. But for me, these freak show fights just disgust me, because it's not... it's not that I'm being a hater, because I want them all to get paid. I have no problem with Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley making a payday. And I want everybody to get paid. You will never hear me advocate for any man or woman not to get a good paycheck. Whether it's, my least favorite fighter, Conor McGregor, or whoever. Not that Conor's my least favorite fighter, but I'm just saying, you guys know I don't really like Conor. No matter who it is, I always want everyone to get paid. They should get paid well for their job. They got families to take care of. And Woodley goes out there and puts on another typical Woodley performance. And I don't think that's the embarrassing part. He goes out there, he doesn't throw much, and then after the fight, he begs for a rematch. Dude, you just had, I don't know how many rounds the fight was, you just had X amount of rounds, and you didn't throw anything the entire fight, and now you're begging for a rematch? Dude, go sit down. And then I think the most embarrassing part of the whole thing is, supposedly before the fight, somebody made a comment, whoever loses have to get a tattoo that says, I love. If Woodley loses, he has to get a tattoo that says, I love Jake Paul. If Jake Paul loses, he has to get a tattoo that says, Tyron Woodley, I love Tyron Woodley. And he says, I'll get the tattoo if you give me a rematch. How desperate are you? Dude, did you, and again, I know UFC fighters aren't paid as well as they should have been. Did you not save any of the money that you had throughout the UFC in your Strikeforce career? You're that hurt up for money, and this was supposed to be the biggest payday of your career, that you're begging for a rematch? You're begging for a rematch? And you're saying, I will tattoo my body to get said rematch? Disgusting and embarrassing. And then, and I'm ashamed that I even watched these interviews. And then he goes to do interviews after the fight, and he says, I won that fight, and I should have got the decision. I hurt him badly. I dropped him. And dude, you did nothing for the majority of the rounds, and you expect to win a fight? Absolutely embarrassing. And I believe the MMA media, what's so disgusting about them is, and it's not all of them. It's not all of them. They're pretending that this is something it's not. They're pretending like this is 2 elite level guys out there boxing, and that's not the case. We have a version of celebrity boxing match essentially taking place where a YouTuber who is smart, I mean, if I was doing it, I'd be doing the same thing, where he's picking out levels of guys who are just good enough to be respected in the MMA community, but they're on the downslope of their career, they're old, and they can easily be outstruck. And even though I thought Woodley was going to win, that's the case here. Woodley Woodley's just old enough. He's lost, 4 fights straight and this and that and it's a smart move by the YouTuber, but Woodley has just embarrassed himself beyond repair. I believe he's tarnished his legacy. And the MMA media, the fact that they're falling over themselves to compliment this event. This was one of the biggest events I've ever been a part of. They're posting, they're tweeting about it nonstop. They're posting Instagram posts about it nonstop. And I know I'm breaking my own rule here by talking about it, but this is going to be the one time I really talk about it. I don't really tend to talk about freak show fights. I'll comment on them occasionally. I don't pay for these pay-per-views. I will not, do that. I wouldn't pay $1 for Tyron Woodley versus Jake Paul, and I don't think you guys should either. And I'm not trying to shit on anyone who likes that stuff because I believe there is a market for it. It can be entertaining. With the right fight, it can entice people to watch, And people don't like Jake Paul. He's a YouTuber. He comes off as annoying, and they want to see him lose. And he's picking out guys that he can beat, or at least he thinks he can beat, who have a little bit of a martial arts background, not a real boxer, because MMA and boxing is two totally different sports. And the MMA media, the fact that they're falling over themselves to compliment this event, the reason they're doing it, and the reason you see nonstop videos, and I would never sell my soul to do this, is because if you go out there and you make Jake Paul versus Woodley content, and you do, not that I'm shitting on anyone that's doing it in, I'm trying to think the word for it, is not doing it like overly over the top crazy, like constant videos and stuff. But there's people that are posting nonstop videos, breakdowns, predictions, covering everything they say and every little interview they do and every clip. Then they're covering the fight, they're doing a pre-fight, post-fight, everything under the sun. And then they're using the freak show and the attention that it's garnered, not because they actually care about that sport per se of boxing, but they're doing it for clicks because those clicks then in turn put money in their pocket. And I believe you can talk about it to a certain extent, but there's just some people and media members, and you guys probably know who I'm talking about, who do it to such an extreme, extent that that's all. You wouldn't know that anything else was going on because that's all they care about. They don't care about, for me, the passion for me is elite level competition. You guys have heard me before. You will see two guys in a great fight. But for me, if it's not an elite level fight, it doesn't interest me as much. And maybe they'll build up and become an elite fighter. But it's just not the same, as you have two guys fighting for a championship or two guys who are in title contention fighting. And I feel like these media members try to make it out to be that. And I just think it's disgusting. I think Woodley has embarrassed himself to the MMA community. I'm happy that he got a paycheck. I think this will continue to happen. I think Paul will continue to fight or box, because boxing and fighting are two different sports. I think he'll continue to pick out people that he believes he can beat in the boxing ring, and I believe it will continue to happen. And the media will continue to drum it up like it's the best event they've ever heard of or ever seen, because getting attention for those type of events is what puts money in their pocket. And that's why I feel like a lot of people, whether it be media members, MMA YouTubers, I believe they're biased in their opinions. And everyone has a certain bias to it. I admit I have bias at sometimes. But they'll pretend something that it's not just because they need to have something of popularity to cling on to. There's so many people who were calling for Conor McGregor to get a fourth fight against Dustin Poirier because Conor McGregor helps their clicks on their articles for their MMA websites and their YouTube videos and everything like that. I don't care to an extent. I'm going to cover relevant topics and tell you my honest opinion, whether you disagree with it or agree with it. But you guys got to be careful because there's people out there promoting stuff they don't even truly believe in, and they're talking about it like it's some great, form of competition, and it just disgusts me. But I just wanted to put one final, opinion out there for that event because I know a lot of you guys are interested in that. I'm going to go to the chat in a second and see what you guys said. If you're here right now, do me a favor, Make sure to like the stream. Now we can get into some better stuff here. I'm going to go through and read all your questions and comments, and we'll see what you guys are saying now and see what you guys think as well, because I'm always curious. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If you guys disagree with me, I'm more than happy to hear it. I'm not one of those people who I'm 100% right all the time and nobody knows any better. Everybody has their own opinion. Okay, what's going on, French fries? What's going on, Ginge? What's going on, Dino? Issa, T Wood looks so happy he got $2 million. I'm happy for him. I'm happy he got paid. What do you think of Conor posting online about wanting to be a coach for the Ultimate Fighter? I think that's a possibility. The UFC could really use him to garner interest. How's your day going? It's been going great, Dino. We actually had a tornado pretty close to me, within like 5 or 10 minutes close to me. We don't normally have tornadoes in Maryland. So they brought a tattoo artist to the loser. She wanted to tattoo the loser in his chest or face. That's crazy. The Woodley that fought Till, we want to see. Too late now. Yeah, it's gone. Giga should be back up for Ortega versus Volk. I'd have no problem with that. Good evening. What's going on, Mohammed? Hope you're doing well. Unfortunately, I won't go to UFC 267. All of them are sold out, and the cheapest tickets are $135 with a PCR test, and I have to go to Abu Dhabi. That sucks, man. I wish you were going. What's going on, Torin Brown? Edson Barboza can fight Calvin Kattar next. That wouldn't be a bad fight either. Who do you think is the greatest fight you fight of all time? Edwin Jones, 17 title defenses, fights, or Kando, 13 title fights? I'm not sure who you're talking about, man. I'm missing those names there. Edwin Jones, I'm not familiar. Maybe that's boxing, and I'm not super familiar with every boxer out there. After the Till fight, Woodley versus Edwards was arranged for London but got canceled. No, that was after the Usman fight. He stepped in. Gilbert Burns stepped in for Leon. I don't know why UFC gave T Wood Colby. Doesn't make sense. It was because of the heat they had before that. That's why. It was widely promoted. They hated each other. It was a good angle. They was going to draw some attention. And it was a fun matchup stylistically. It turned out not to be, but either way. Woodley needs to find a win ASAP. I don't know if he'll ever find a win. Usman ruined Woodley just like Justin G ruined Ferguson. Maybe so. Conor should put Jake's lights out if they fight. Probably. I think that's the biggest fight they can make in boxing would be Conor versus Jake. Who do you think is the greatest fight of all time? Okay, I already read that. Giga will be on standby for whoever pulls out of the Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez. We're going to talk about Giga in a second, but I agree. Besides his right hand, Woodley's striking leaves a lot to be desired. The broadcast stated expert striker. Yeah, he's always been a right hand. He's been a right hand and good takedown defense, being fast and explosive as well, and has decent jiu-jitsu. Tyron was so bad that he made Jake Paul look good. Yeah. I want to see Jake Paul fight Jorge Masvidal. That's a possibility. As much as I hate to say it, I give Paul a lot of respect for stepping in there with Tyron and then winning by outboxing him. You got to give credit where credit is due. No, definitely. And also, I got respect for him and I don't know if it's real or not, but as it's been right now, you just got to take him for what he said. He's advocating for fighter pay. It would have been an easy win for him. Easy for him to not fight, all to just use his money partying instead. Yeah, Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul, maybe. Let's see what's going on. I like the YouTube fights. Honestly, when a YouTube fight's a pro, if I was a pro, I would never do that, even for the biggest paycheck. I would. If I thought I could beat him, why not take the easy fight, supposedly? I thought Paul looked for better than Fury in the respective bouts. I didn't see the Fury bout. True, we certainly weren't watching elite level regardless. The thing that bothers me about the fight is the end. Tyron isn't even tired, and it looks as if he wasn't trying to fight. Trying like he is scared of getting hit. Yeah. He's done that in a lot of his fights. He doesn't even look tired, and he's not fighting. It drives me nuts. He wasn't even breathing heavy. You were a drone, so negative. Just about that topic, man. Just about that topic. It's just that topic puts me off. Other than that, we have good, fun discussion here. I'm normally not that negative. So, Jake Paul sounds like a clown, and LOL, then he wins, and you are a clown. He should beef with The Undertaker. What do you think of that? Sure. Dustin P. versus Charles Oliveira in the works for UFC 269. Yeah, I called that last week. If you guys remember, I said I went through all the champions and I said who's available. If they're not available, who are they fighting and when's their fight? If they are available, who should they fight next? And who would be on UFC 269? I said it would be Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier for the lightweight belt, and I also said Brandon Moreno versus Alexandra Pantoja. Ginge, look at you. You got my back. Yeah, it's just one topic I'm being negative about, man. Calm down. Calm down with the stuff. Not you, Ginge, but it's just dumb. Calling names, just because I'm negative on one topic, dude. Yeah, we don't need that. I got the shirt. Awesome, Cody. And also, Cody, I want to thank you for being a member. I think this is the first time you've been on a live chat since you joined the membership. I appreciate you so much. How are you liking the shirt? I hope you like it. I'm gonna mess around with the merchandise store soon. See if I can kind of reorganize it a little bit better and make stuff easier to find and pick out. I'm probably just gonna offer the premium shirt. But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the support. There's been a couple shirts already sold. Guys, if you want a shirt like this, you can get it in a million different colors. The link is in the description. I think it turned out awesome. I particularly love it. I can't wait for you to wear that to UFC 266, Cody. I really can't. I'm seeing your message. I'm going to go down there in a second. Tony Ferguson versus Conor McGregor would be great coaches for tough. I would watch every episode of The Ultimate Fighter if we got Tony Ferguson versus Conor McGregor. It would be great. Did you hear Pantoja versus Moreno 3, Nate versus Luque, and Dustin Charles are all in the works for UFC 269? I didn't know. Yes and no. I didn't see any credible source reporting this, but I thought it would be Dustin versus Charles for 269. I thought it would be Pantoja versus Moreno for 269, and I knew Vicente Luque versus Nate Diaz was not happening on 268. So if it does happen, I mean, either way, that's an amazing card. If you were Paul, who would be the next MMA fighter he can beat in an upgrade on Woodley? That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Maybe Conor. I don't think he beats Conor, but maybe. This is gonna be my one stream where I talk about that freak show fight. Even Wonderboy was mad that Woodley wasn't throwing. Yeah, and that's hilarious. I'm assuming, I don't know if he's actually mad or you're making a joke, because Wonderboy doesn't let his cans go either. Even Adesanya made a video reacting to the fight. It's dope. It's good material. I'm glad you like the shirt, man. I'm really happy to hear that. That's why when I set this up, I ordered a shirt for myself because I wanted to see the quality, and I'm glad that you really like it. It's a comfortable T-shirt. I'm going to get a couple more in different colors. Yusuf, I think she's tried to fight Anderson Silva. That would be perfect for him. I think Anderson Silva beats him, though. Moreno said on his IG the Pantoja fight isn't official at all. Yeah, I haven't seen any official words on it at all yet. Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul. They should make Gane versus Ngannou, Izzy versus Rob for UFC 270. That's possible. Yep. I believe that. I don't think it's official. Sometimes people just put that out there. Like I said that I thought it would happen for UFC 269, but I never said it was official at all. The hardest part about these live chats is getting thirsty. Hold on one second, guys. Let me make sure of something real quick. Okay. I always forget to do this. I always mean to tweet out for people. Only premium magician cotton touches this body. That's hilarious, man. Let's see. I always mean to tweet out this link, and I always forget for people to join on the live chat. By the way, guys, if you're not already, go follow me on Twitter if you have one. The link is in the description. Become a member of the channel. The link is in the description. If you want to buy a shirt, the link is in the description. All that stuff you can find below. Ginge and Cody, how have you been liking a little bit of behind the scenes stuff? Have you guys enjoyed that? You know, I've been posting some of my MMA memorabilia on the members only tab. I showed you guys what my living room setup looks like today. You could see my 77-inch LG CX. And that's what I'm watching the pay-per-views on. That's why I can't stream, because I can't watch the big pay-per-views on the laptop. But I hope you guys are liking that little bit of behind-the-scenes type stuff. And eventually I'm going to add more stuff to that. You know, that's just the beginning. And I really love, and I'm going to add emojis soon. Maybe next week so guys, I want you to start thinking of ideas for the next emojis that I can add to the membership. Because next week I'm going to probably maybe put a poll out in the members only tab. And you guys can decide what you want for the next emoji, because I'm going to add a couple more. I think I can add 3 more right now. And right now I have the 4 that you guys already seen. Um, but we'll add some more. I'm thinking about maybe making like a confused Aljamain Sterling one. I thought about making a Tony Ferguson one. It's got to be the right picture, though. We got to find something that's actually cool. But I appreciate you guys becoming members, and we'll figure out some more awesome perks to give out. Eventually, when I can grow the channel and the membership a little bit more, I'll do some members only live streams. So if the live chats start to get too crazy as the channel grows to get bigger, we'll do members only live streams. So there'll only be maybe 20, 30, 50 of us in there, whatever it may be at the time. I want Leon hitting the stanky leg. Yeah, well, the thing is, maybe I might be able to do that, but the thing is, just because they're so small, it's hard to get. If you notice, Conor's kind of shrunk down. It's only Nate from the waist up. It's only Dana from the waist up. Khabib from the waist or from the chest up, really. So it all depends. I want it to turn out nicely, but that there's a chance we might be able to get that one. There's a few other ones I've thought of too. I almost want to make one of CM Punk. Okay, you should add that one of the fan painting his body just bleed. Maybe I will. I'll see. I'll send it to the guy who makes them, and I'll see if that one will turn out right. Because he can make it out of anything, but if it doesn't turn out right, it doesn't make sense. So that's a good one too. That's a good option too. To be honest, bro, I appreciate the behind-the-scenes member content, but I'm just quite happy to support your channel's growth. Thank you, man. That's really what that tier is for. It's just a way to really, get a little extra benefits and be able to support the channel. It's awesome. You should make a Jake Paul one. Stop, French fries, stop. Maybe. I'll think about it, though. Who would you like to see Tony Ferguson fight next? Thanks for joining the chat. I want to see Tony Ferguson versus Nate Diaz. That's the fight that I want more than anything. I just love that matchup. So that's the fight that I really want to see. In a second here, we're going to talk about Giga Chikadze. So guys, continue to fill the chat with questions as I pull up the UFC rankings for reference. And then we can talk about Giga Chikadze. First off, guys, okay? So first off, continue to fill the chat with questions. I'm going to move on to talking about Giga Chikadze. I think that's a very important topic to talk about, and then a topic that a lot of you guys care about. We got the terrible, annoying topic out of the way right off the top. You have Giga Chikadze, who is relatively unproven up until he fights Edson Barboza last week. And you guys watched my pre-fight, I'm sure. I picked Edson Barboza. Giga Chikadze finishes him by TKO in the 3rd round in a spectacular performance. I have a lot of respect for Edson Barboza. And I think that I am on the bandwagon. A win over Edson Barboza means a lot to me because I'm such a believer in Edson Barboza that Giga to be able to outstrike him like that was absolutely amazing. And I want to see, there's a lot of fun matchups for him right now. So if you look at the division, you have Alexander Volkanovsky as champ. He is fighting Brian Ortega, who's currently ranked number 2 in the division in the UFC official rankings. They're fighting at UFC 266 later this month, which Cody Fletcher is going to, which I'm super happy for him, but I'm also a little bit jealous. Then you have number 1 Max Holloway fighting number 3 Yair Rodriguez. So you can exclude basically the champ and the top 3 names. So who do you have next? You have Chan Sung Jung, you have Calvin Kattar, you have Arnold Allen, you have Josh Emmett, and then Giga Chikadze is currently ranked number 8 now. So who could we match him up with next? I believe the best matchup for him right now would be Chan Sung Jung to move him and propel him towards a title. But there's so many options. You could have Giga Chikadze waiting around and being the backup for UFC 266. He said he would like to be a backup, and I love the confidence from Giga. I'm 100% on the train. Just to tell you guys how much on the train I am, I will favor Giga Chikadze to beat Josh Emmett as it stands right now. I may change my mind in the future. I would favor him to beat Josh Emmett. I would favor him to beat Arnold Allen. I'd favor him to beat Calvin Kattar. I'd favor him to beat Chan Sung Jung. and I'd even favor him to beat Yair Rodriguez. So in my mind right now, Giga Chikadze is number 3 ranked, in my mind, in my official rankings, in my head. But you got to look at the matchups that are available. He can be on standby for UFC 266 as the backup. If that doesn't work out, he can fight Chan Sung Jung. Chan Sung Jung just coming off a big win over Dan Ige. Chan Sung Jung's a well-respected name. That would be a super exciting fight. And I really think that that's the fight that will probably happen. Calvin Kattar, I wouldn't mind, and some people have said they want to see that fight. But Calvin Kattar's coming off that loss to Max Holloway. I don't really think that makes sense right now for Calvin Kattar to have to take Giga Chikadze on, especially considering it's not a big benefit for Chikadze. If he wins, they're going to say, well, he just got destroyed by Max Holloway. I wouldn't also mind seeing him step in if Yair Rodriguez or Max Holloway has to pull out. You know, that fight was supposed to happen in July, and Max Holloway had to pull out. So if anybody has to pull out of that fight again, I would not mind seeing Giga Chikadze versus Max. I would not mind seeing Giga Chikadze versus Yair. But I personally think it's the Chan Sung Jung fight. It can be the main event of a fight night. And I think he'll win that fight, and I think he'll be next in line for a title shot. The other name that we're not mentioning right now, that's not currently in the rankings because he's out due to surgery or whatever, for whatever reason, Zabit Magomedsharipov, which, if I had my true pick, and I don't know because he's been out for so long, I'd want him to come back and get a win, but there's nothing but killers at 145. Who wouldn't kill for Giga Chikadze versus Zabit Magomedsharipov? I would love that fight. So there's nothing but fun fights for Giga Chikadze, and I think he's one fight away from a title shot right now. I really do. I think that would make a lot of sense. I think these last few, pay-per-view events of the year are probably going to get stacked out with some great fights. We will see. But let me know in the chat, guys. Who do you want to see Giga Chikadze fight next? I say Korean Zombie, or he's a replacement for either Yair, Max, Ortega, or Volkanovsky. Give us some unpopular opinions. Conor McGregor was never good. Giga versus Kattar. That makes a lot of sense, too. The pink suit guy, be a good emoji. Yes, that would be. Kattar, Giga versus the Beat. See, I wasn't even looking at the chat when I said that. Excuse me. Giga versus the Beat should be awesome. You should do an Alistair Overeem when he was sent into orbit. Or, what if I did an Alistair Overeem with the split lip? Or, that's another good one, Robbie Lawler with the split lip after the Rory McDonald fight. Imagine a UFC 269 where we a whole bunch of title fights, lightweights, flyweight, heavyweight, middleweight, and women's bantamweight. That's never going to happen. I wish it would, but that's just, the UFC has other cards to fill out in early 2022. I love watching Zabit fight. IQ off the chart and extremely technical, and also super dynamic as well. I love seeing Zabit fight. I've been dying to see that Zabit Yair fight, but it's been canceled so many times that it almost makes me depressed. So it's one of those things where now it's like almost like I don't want it anymore because it's been supposed to happen so many times and been canceled. Askren stiff from Masvidal's knee emoji. Let me look that up. Right now. Ben Askren, Jorge Masvidal. I don't know, just because of the way. Let me see if I can find a picture. I don't know if there's a good picture to send to the guy where he can make an emoji out of it, if that makes sense. Because he's not able, the emoji's so small, he's not able to put a full body in there. And if you can find me a good picture of him stiffened up, I can probably get it made into emoji. I can make the flying knee. What else there's a bunch of good options for that. So we have a Conor. So I don't want any more Conor emojis. Who else could we make an emoji out of? Let's see. What if I do? Should I get a picture? Remember Nick Diaz laying down in the cage against Anderson Silva? What about that one? That's another one I just thought of. Giga is the best striker at featherweight. Do you agree? Do I agree? Is he the best striker at featherweight? Maybe. I don't know though, man. It's Holloway's very, very good. A very good striker. I say he's the second best behind Holloway, but he may be better than Holloway. I don't know. But we'll see. I want to see the stamina tested. I'll find you a pick. Okay, thank you. Nate versus Masvidal 2. Who wins? Masvidal wins again. I have no desire to see that rematch. Did Woodley really embarrass himself, though? It was his first boxing fight. So, Nick, I'm not sure if you were here during the early part of the live stream when I discussed my point of view. It wasn't the fight itself that embarrassed him. It's the fact that he didn't do much in the fight. He then begs for a rematch and offers to get a tattoo on his body to get the rematch. And then he goes around saying that he won when he really didn't do much in the fight to begin with. That's the part that is embarrassing. Bruce Buffer emojis while he's introducing someone. You could refer to Aljamain as a sideshow. Bob from The Simpsons. Okay, much Hammock. He's been training MMA for 20 years. Nick Hammock. I have no idea, my friend. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, you were responding to him saying he's been. Yeah, but the fight wasn't the embarrassing part for me. You know, if he lost, he lost. He's on the downslope of his career. It's the begging for the rematch, acting like you won, and then saying he will tattoo another man's name on his body just to secure said rematch. But what's going on, Nick? Thanks for stopping by, man. Thanks for stopping by the live stream. I appreciate you. If you got any other questions, put them in the chat. Don't forget to like the stream as well. I love doing these weekly live stream with you guys. But I'm trying to think which other one could we get? Would you guys really like? Because I want to get emojis that you guys like to use. So that's the real issue here. Which should we get? Maybe I should get a Brandon Moreno one when him smiling cage shot or smiling in the cage after he wins his title. There's so many different options, guys. That's why you guys. I'm gonna get some different options from you guys, and then we'll take a poll on which ones you guys want. I'd like to get one of, you know what, I think this is definitely going to be an option. Israel Adesanya doing the Wave and Anderson one. Has it been announced? Let me go take a look. Where is it at? Where's it at? I want to see this. Oh, I see. Guys, who was here for last week's live stream when I talked about Oliveira versus Dustin? I said Brandon Moreno versus Pantoja as well. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, guys, since it's been announced, holy moly. As soon as this is over, I'm going to do a full video on it. But, yeah, that's great. So, let's talk about that some more. Because, let me actually put this. I like to do this as well. Let me save this. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay, I was here. Yes, I called those fights. I called them last week. A bloody Rory McDonald emoji. That would be awesome as well. Izzy shooting the machine guns after he knocked out Robert. That's another great option. There's so many different ones, but let's talk about UFC 269 for a minute. Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. Now that it looks like it's about to be announced or someone's reporting it, that's official. That was the only fight to make for the lightweight division. You have Charles Oliveira, the current champion, on a great little streak right now as it stands, coming off the win over Michael Chandler where he faced adversity. You have Dustin Poirier, former interim lightweight champion, lost the title to Khabib. Since then, has beat the brakes off of Conor McGregor twice in a row. It was the only fight to make. It really was. I personally can't wait for this fight. I am taking Oliveira. There's a chance I change my pick, but I'm pretty sure I'm taking Oliveira. I just think Oliveira, his striking gets better every time out. His jiu-jitsu is world-class. His submissions are amazing. Uh, his ability to grab submissions up so quickly are absolutely amazing. A guy shoots in on him, he's wrapping up a guillotine before you can even think straight. Did it to Kevin Lee. He's always improving. He's on a nice little streak right now. His streak is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And he's on a 9-fight win streak. His last 3 wins: Kevin Lee, Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler. Dustin Poirier is currently on a 3-fight win streak. Dan Hooker and Conor McGregor ×2. And I can't wait for this fight. I mean, Dustin Poirier, this is his chance to become the true undisputed lightweight belt holder. And I just think that Charles can strike with him. I think Poirier's best advantage is his durability, because Dustin is so durable. Dustin is so well-rounded. But if Dustin wants to win this fight, he has to do it on the feet. I 100% believe that he has to do it on the feet. And he's not going to, there's no way he's taking Oliveira down. So if things start to go sour on the feet, it begins and ends for Dustin Poirier with on the feet. And, I mean, maybe he can finish Charles, but Dustin is more of an accumulative guy. He's not a big power guy. He's a more technical boxer, accumulative damage, and eventually finishes you off as you gas. So I could see, if Dustin Poirier wins, I could see a 4th or 5th round TKO. I don't know if Oliveira has 5-round stamina. He's never gone 5 rounds as far as I remember. I don't think he's ever gone 5 rounds. Somebody correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But he's never, his stamina has always been a little bit of an issue. People have questioned his heart. I think Dustin Poirier has to win in typical Dustin Poirier fashion, where maybe he's taking some damage early. He makes his way to the later rounds and finishes him off. But I really think it'll probably be Oliveira winning on the feet. Maybe Dustin gets hurt badly. Dustin shoots in on a takedown and gets submitted. I mean, that's the typical recipe to victory for Oliveira. He beats guys up on the feet. They shoot for takedowns, and he submits them. I mean, how many times has he done that over and over and over again? Charles got the reach, and he is a big lightweight. I don't know if Dustin will try to grapple him. Yeah, Dustin will not try to grapple him unless he's hurt badly. If he's hurt badly, he will try to grapple him, and then he will get submitted. It'll be similar to Cain Velasquez versus Fabricio Werdum. He gets hurt on the feet. He's losing on the feet. You got to change the game plan. You shoot on a takedown, and Charles Oliveira wraps that submission up before you can even think twice about defending it. I think the only path to victory is wearing down Charles. Maybe pressing him up against the cage, beating up on his legs, dirty boxing, and Charles wearing down eventually in the latter rounds. Fate starting to fade, and Dustin really looking for a finish in those later rounds. But other than that, I mean, and that's a decent path to victory. Dustin Poirier has been able to weather the storm against multiple guys. Dan Hooker, he was hurt badly multiple times. Conor, he was hurt badly in the first fight. I think he was stung pretty badly. He even said as much. His ability to take a shot, but eventually that's going to give too. And Oliveira is super technical in the feet. His hands are always right at his chin to block strikes all the time. And I just believe that Oliveira is the more technical guy. And I believe he has so many avenues to victory. I believe he can stop Dustin on the feet. I don't think he'll put him out cold, but I think he could TKO him. I think he could hurt Dustin on the feet and cause Dustin to shoot and then eventually get submitted. I also think that I'm not 100% confident in this. I think Oliveira could, maybe if he's losing on the feet, I think he could take Dustin down and potentially submit him, similar to what Khabib did. I don't know if I'm not as confident in that assumption, but I think it's possible. But I think Dustin's best path to victory is to just drag Charles Oliveira in the deep water and finish him in the later rounds. How would Nate versus Vicente Luque go? I actually did a full video on it, but I'll tell you anyway. Thank you for joining the chat. Big Rocker Johnson, appreciate you. I think Vicente Luque would beat the shit out of Nate Diaz. I think it wouldn't even be competitive. Nate Diaz is always super durable, so maybe if maybe if he, I don't, maybe if Vicente Luque wears down, Nate Diaz could do something to him, but I don't see that happening. Sebastian says, I give Dustin a 60. I give Charles 40. Close fight, in my opinion. I believe it's a close fight. If I had to give you my percentages, I say 70-30 Charles Oliveira is my percentages. I'm going to do, as soon as this live chat ends, I'm going to go about a little over an hour today. When this live chat ends, I'm going to probably do a full video on UFC 269. Patty Pimler or whatever, make an emoji out of him. Maybe I will. Mohammed, you got to become a new member. You can join down below. UFC 269 could be the best card if Masvidal versus Nate and Burns versus Edwards and Izzy versus Whitaker. That's not going to happen. I hate to break it to you, Issa. Fight Life Nation, thank you for becoming a member. I greatly appreciate you. Now you get access to the emojis. You'll get access to the loyalty badges, which now you see a loyalty badge next to your name. And you'll also get behind the scenes stuff. You guys can, on the members only tab, I showed you my living room. I showed you my dog. I showed you some of my MMA memorabilia. And it's only a couple bucks. You help support the channel. We already have, a decent amount of members, more than I expected at this point in time. But you'll be as the channel grows, you will get more perks. And I appreciate you, man. It means a lot for you to join the membership. It really does. This membership is one small step for me eventually making this MMA YouTube thing a full-time thing. It may take a year or so, but eventually that's my goal, is to make enough revenue from doing this MMA channel to be able to make this a full-time thing. And if that's the case, I'll be streaming every day. I'll probably stream every event. But thank you for joining the membership, man. I really appreciate it. I really do. It's nice to see that. Okay, Yusuf, I will check what you just sent me. Yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. That little girl definitely has better striking than Woodley and Askren. Askren has some of the worst striking I've ever seen in my entire life. And guys, I am nobody. I don't practice anything. I'm not a boxer. I would like my chances in a boxing match with Ben Askren, and that's how bad his striking is. No, I didn't mean fighting each other. I mean if Nate fights and Masvidal fights. Yeah, I would love that, but I think I get what you're saying now. You have Nate fighting like a Tony Ferguson. You have Masvidal fighting like a Leon Edwards. I don't think the UFC is not going to book all those fights for that card. That's too much. That's too much. They need to fill out other cards early next year. But I like your thinking. If it happens, I'd be hyped. Do you think if Jake Paul asked Woodley to wear a hat sombrero in a diaper, he will? Yes, he would. That's why he's embarrassed himself. But UFC 269 is shaping up to be amazing. I mean, Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. Then you have Brandon Moreno versus Alexander Pantoja 3. The first time you will see a trilogy where the champion has lost the challenger twice in their career. Then you have Amanda Nunes versus Julianna Pena, which should be an utter destruction at women's bantamweight. There's so much fun stuff at UFC 269. Then you have a potential Nate Diaz fight. He wanted to fight before the end of the year. If we get Nate Diaz versus Vicente Luque on 269, give me it 5 rounds, and that card would be, I mean, as it stands, I'd pay $100 for that card right there. Then maybe you had Masvidal versus Edwards somewhere in there. Maybe, I don't know. That gets a little bit crazy. See, I don't think the UFC is going to do that. There's too many headliners on one card. But sometimes they like to do that. A bunch of trashy fight nights, and next thing you know, they're stacking a pay-per-view. So, guys, do me a favor. If you have not already liked the live stream, I try to do these live streams every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. But just do me a favor, like the live stream. It'll put it out to more people. But you also, let's talk about a little bit about, I wanted to talk about this too. I try to get an idea for different topics to talk about on the live stream, and also I had on here, let's talk about Darren Till versus Darren Till versus Derek Brunson. If you guys haven't watched my prediction video, I give my reasons why there, but I'm picking Derek Brunson to win this fight. I believe he's the best. Derek Brunson is the greatest gatekeeper of all time. And I believe he probably sends Darren Till back. But if Darren Till is able to beat Derek Brunson, and he does it impressively, he will be fighting for a title probably next. If not, he's one fight away from that. Put Joanna on UFC 269. Joanna's been sitting out forever. I think Anderson Silva is next for Paul. Maybe. Anderson Silva, doesn't he have a fight? Fight Life Nation, what's going on, man? I did talk about it. Thank you for becoming a member. Pitties and STI, thank you for becoming a member, man. Supporting the channel. I greatly appreciate it. It means a lot. You'll get some behind-the-scenes footage type stuff, and we'll be voting on the next emoji for the members only soon. Brunson's on a 6-fight win streak. Yes, that's crazy. I actually, let me pull that up real quick. Let's talk about what Derek Brunson has done, because I believe Derek Brunson doesn't get enough respect. I get why. I understand the reasoning behind it, but if you go over. So Derek Brunson's on a 4-fight win streak, not a 6-fight win streak. The last 2 fights, Kevin Holland, Edmund Shabazian. Derek Brunson has been a guy for the UFC that they particularly give guys who they believe in to make the next step. Adesanya beat Derek Brunson. He kind of made the next step, and they knew, okay, he is an elite level middleweight fighter. They did the same with Robert Whittaker. They tried to do the Uriah Hall test. Uriah Hall did not pass. They did it with This wasn't necessarily a test, but this was more or less making his way to a title shot. Jacare Souza, I believe they fought actually twice. But if you look over Derek Brunson's career, he's fought a who's who of fighters. I mean, look at the names I just went off of. If you go through them. He fought Yoel Romero. He was beating Yoel Romero for 2 rounds, and then he got, I think it was a flying knee KO'd by Yoel Romero in the 3rd round. He out-wrestled Yoel Romero. That's how good Derek Brunson's wrestling is. He absolutely destroyed Sam Alvey. Not that that's an accomplishment, but I'll never forget the way he absolutely destroyed him. He beat Uriah Hall by TKO. He lost to Robert Whittaker. He was super sloppy in that fight. I think he even hurt Robert Whittaker in that fight. I don't remember. It's been so long. He lost to Anderson Silva, but that was a decision that he probably should have gotten. It was a close fight. He beat Lyoto Machida. Nice knockout of Lyoto Machida back in 2017. He lost to Jacare Souza. He lost to Israel Adesanya. Then he goes on to beat Elias Theodora, who's a bum. Goes on to beat Ian Heinisch, who's okay. Goes on to beat Edmund Shabazian. And Edmund Shabazian was in the position where if he beat Derek Brunson, he was making that next step towards top middleweight contender. And it just didn't end up happening. He set Edmund Shabazian back. Then it was the same thing with Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, if he beat Derek Brunson, was going to be in a good position. And obviously, that didn't happen. That was when Kevin Holland was on his nice little streak, his 5-fight win streak, I believe it was. So you had it where Derek Brunson has been, I'd like to call him a championship keeper. Every time he fights, it seems like if you beat him, you're like 1 fight away from a title shot. It's happened time and time again where if you beat Derek Brunson, you move on to a title. Now you have Darren Till, where I think Darren Till is a quality guy. Okay, let me pull up his resume because I don't always remember right offhand. And I talked about a lot of this in my pre-fight. Guys, do me a favor, after the live stream, if you haven't already, go watch my prediction video. You look at Darren Till, and I have his resume up here. And I literally go over this in the pre-fight too. He lost to Robert Whittaker, and I believe that was his best performance. It was a competitive fight, but he clearly lost to Robert Whittaker. He beat Kelvin Gastelum. It was a split decision. Could have gone either way. He lost to Jorge Masvidal by KO. Before that, he lost to Woodley, got hurt on the feet, and then submitted on the ground. He beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but that was a close decision. Even though Darren Till got the unanimous decision, the majority of people thought Wonderboy won that fight. And then before that, he beat Donald Cerrone by TKO. Donald Cerrone is the only guy that he's even stopped in the last 4 years. Since October of 2017, let me put it that way. He's only stopped Donald Cerrone. He's gotten stopped multiple times. He's won some decisions. So it's like, where, as good as Darren Till has looked at some points in time, where the quality wins. Kelvin Gastelum is a decent win, but that was a split decision, super close. He got brutally KO'd by Jorge Masvidal. He got destroyed by Woodley, and he barely got a decision. If some decisions go the wrong way, Darren Till could easily be on a 5-fight losing streak right now. He could have lost to Wonder Boy. He could have lost to Woodley, which he did. He could have lost to Jorge, which he did. He could have lost to Kelvin Gastelum, which he got the split decision win. And then he lost to Robert Whittaker. So when you look at the two guys in contrast, I know Darren Till's the better striker. I know Derek Brunson is super sloppy. But I feel like Derek Brunson has almost took that Justin Gaethje route where he's starting to refine his skills. And even though his striking is never going to be elite level striking, he's starting to realize what he's good at and just doing it. You know, he took Edmund Shabazian down and he just ground and pound him and beat him up, wore him out. He did the same against Kevin Holland as well. You know, that wasn't the greatest performance, but I believe Derek Brunson will go out there and look to take Darren Till down. I don't think he's going to rush forward with his chin up. If he does, it's not going to be good. But even if not, I just don't think Darren Till has the ability to stop him. You know, maybe if he rushes forward with his chin forward, but other than that, he's not finishing anyone. Brunson's 6-fight win streak, 4-fight win streak. We talked about that. Darren Till is the most overrated fighter in the last few years. He looks good, but based on resume, I agree with you. For sure. Fight Life Nation. He just doesn't have the quality wins. Just aren't there. Could be on a 5-fight losing streak right now, and no real impressive performances. What's next for Darren Till if he loses this fight? That is a great question. If he loses this fight, who does Darren? Because I don't really see a future for him. Who does he fight next if he loses? Let me pull up something real quick before I answer that question. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm looking at this. I'm trying to think. Robert Whittaker's fighting Adesanya. Paulo Costa currently has a fight with Marvin Vettori. So Darren Till could fight the loser of Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori. They could do the rematch with Kelvin Gastelum. I don't really see that happening. Jared Cannonier's on a win. Jared Cannonier's probably going to fight the winner of Paulo Costa versus Marvin Vettori. He's not fighting Derek Brunson. Maybe he could fight Jack Hermansson. Jack Hermansson's coming off a win against Edmund Shabazian. They were supposed to fight in December of 2020. So if Darren Till loses, he either fights Jack Hermansson or maybe Uriah Hall. I think the UFC would give him Uriah Hall. I think they would try to give him a name that he could beat. And, or they could even do Edmund Shabazian hanging out at number 11 right now. Edmund Shabazian's a winnable fight, and it's also a guy who's going to keep it striking. And if Edmund Shabazian gets a big win over Darren Till, that propels him more closer to the top. But it's crazy that Darren Till is so highly ranked in the middleweight division, and he hasn't even beat anyone within the middleweight division other than Kelvin Gastelum back in 2019 by split decision. How is he number 7? But I guess, you look at the names below him, they're not all that great. Sean Strickland, Kelvin Gastelum, Uriah Hall, Edmund Shabazian. I think Kelvin Gastelum, in my opinion, in my own personal rankings, I would rank Kelvin Gastelum currently number 4. You would have Robert Whittaker, Paulo Costa, Jared Cannonier, and I think Kelvin Gastelum is better than Marvin Vettori. And I know Kelvin Gastelum just lost to Jared Cannonier, but still, that was a close fight. Easily could have had it. Let's see. Who has Darren beat other than Cowboy? I just went over that. He's got a great personality and it's fun to follow on Twitter, but his fights are usually boring and he doesn't win big fights. I know what you're saying. I agree with you, man. By the way, Fight Life Nation, thank you again for becoming a member, my friend. Rogan got COVID. I seen the MMA article, did a story on that. Oh, well. It is what it is, I guess. The loser fights Jack Hermansson. I said that. It's funny how I come and read the chat, and we're thinking very much alike, guys. Cowboy and Wonderboy, and Woodley and Masvidal and Gastelum, Whittaker back to back. Now he's fighting Brunson. He has balls. I 100% agree with that. Darren Till does not take easy fights, and that's why I give him a pass rather than saying, oh, this guy's a bum or he hasn't fought anyone. He's fighting tough guys, and even in the fights that he's losing, they are competitive. So that's why I do still rank him, of a decent skill level, in my personal opinion. Holland and Edmund are both very bad on the ground and got exposed. Yeah, they're terrible on the ground. Brunson versus Till is going to be fire. I have Till winning. A lot of people are picking Till in that fight. Brunson, okay. If Till loses Shabazian, that's an awesome fight. Imagine if Brunson becomes the champ next year. That would be insane. If Brunson wins this fight, I mean, he's got to be close to a title shot, which is just crazy. And I'd like to see him against Adesanya again, where he knows I can't strike with him at all. Gastelum versus Costa would be fire. I would love that fight. Gastelum's constantly taking Costa's fight, but it'd be fun. MMA. Hank Hill, now you can become part of the MMA Joey army. You can join the membership below. Come on, Hank Hill. The link is in the description, and also there's a join button below. So come join the channel. Come join the channel. Be part of the membership, and you get the loyalty badges and the custom emojis. And we're about to add some more. I know you want this Nate Diaz emoji. Hold on, I'll post it in the chat right now. And the Sleepy McGregor emoji is my personal favorite, by the way. So go sign up and become a member. It's only a couple dollars. It's basically nothing. You'll never even notice missing. I'd like to see the loser against Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland's fighting Luke Rockhold. So maybe the loser of Rockhold versus Strickland. But if Rockhold loses to Strickland, I think Rockhold probably never returns. Hank Hill, possibly. Go sign up, man. Become a new member today. I'll be adding more emojis. We'll be taking a vote on it next week of what emojis to add. Thoughts on Till potentially getting a title shot if he beats Brunson? Well, that's actually what I was getting to. I thought maybe I talked about it, but maybe I didn't. Till's name alone, he's a very popular fighter. And if he gets a win over Derek Brunson, the fact that Adesanya needs fresh faces, I think that will be the next fight. I mean, timing-wise, it's going to kind of suck because I don't think Adesanya versus Whitaker 2 is going to happen till January or February. So how long is Darren Till going to sit out? He's going to sit out all of September, all of October, all of November, all of December, all of January, February. He's going to have to sit out about 8 months because the winner of the Adesanya-Whitaker fight isn't going to fight till next summer. So I think Till needs one more fight, but it would not surprise me if he does get a title shot. And maybe he'll wait around. He's not been very active. He's been injured constantly. But if he's going to be healthy, I want to see him fight. So I think maybe if let's say Till wins. If Till wins and Costa wins, give me Costa versus Till. Costa's fighting Vettori later this year. Give me Costa versus Till early next year, and the winner of that fight gets a fight against Adesanya. Obviously, Costa would be a rematch. After the Rockhold fight, I meant, if he wins, I think it would make sense. Cannonier versus Till makes a lot of sense, though, since they're both new fit. Yeah, agreed. That would make sense, too. I would like that fight. What's next for the winner of Rockhold? I think if Rockhold wins, he could be in a good spot to get a title shot next, and he might wait it out as well. Rockhold's former middleweight champion. He's a big name. I think we could see him versus Adesanya very, very soon. Let me see something real quick. By the way, guys, thank you guys for joining me for these live chats. I hope you're enjoying them as much as I do. It's fun to discuss all these different things that I don't actually get to make a full video on. And get your guys' questions throughout this live chat. So, appreciate you guys very much. What's next for the winner of Rock? Okay, I think Rockhold gets the title. I think Strickland, if he wins, I think he needs at least one more fight. Is Costa coming back for the end of the year? Yeah, he's supposed to fight Marvin Vettori next month, as in October. I think he's supposed to fight Marvin Vettori in October. So the answer to your question is yes. He is coming back before the end of the year. But I really believe that Darren Till is in a good spot regardless. And I think that Israel Adesanya, he's not a dumb guy. There's a reason that he keeps, hyping up Jared Cannonier and calling him the dark horse of the division and talking about Darren Till, because he knows those are the fresh faces in the division that he hasn't fought yet. Let me just say this. Israel Adesanya absolutely wrecks Jared Cannonier. And I don't necessarily want to see that fight all that badly. But the Darren Till fight could be interesting. Both of them are great strikers, but I think Adesanya wins both of those fights. Imagine Costa versus Vettori press conference. I wonder if they'll do a big press conference You know, sometimes when they have a bunch of big events coming up, they'll do a big group press conference with all the fighters that are fighting on upcoming cards. Remember they did that where the Jeremy Stevens Conor thing happened? Imagine, I just still can't believe Vettori had his pants on backwards in that photo shoot, guys. I really still can't believe that. All right, guys, fill the chat with some more questions. Don't forget to like the stream. Let's talk about, because before I do these live streams, I come up with a couple topics I at least want to talk about, even if we've already talked about them a little bit before. Let's talk about UFC 268, because I'm curious what you guys think of UFC 268. I have videos on it, but this card is just crazy stacked, just absolutely crazy stacked. You have Kamaru Usman versus Colby Covington 2. You have Rose Namajunas versus Weili Zhang. You have Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. Sean Strickland versus Luke Rockhold. Frankie Edgar versus Marlon Vera. Edmund Shabazi versus Imanov. Jermaine Durandamy versus Aldana. Ally Quinta versus Bobby Green. I mean, this is a stacked card. I don't want any of these fights to fall out. They're so good. They're so damn good. UFC 268 is great. Which fight are you guys most looking forward to? Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington 2, Rose Namajunas versus Weili Zhang 2, or Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler? Which of those three fights are you guys most looking forward to? Because I just love them so much. It should be a phenomenal card. UFC 268, UFC 267, 268, and 269 are all shaping up to be amazing. And I think the reason this happens a lot of the time is because some people like to take the summer off, so then they like to fight towards the end of the year, which is November, December. And this card is just going to be phenomenal. I really can't wait for UFC 268. It's just going to be so good, guys. I literally can't believe it. Gaethje versus Chandler. If Weili wins the rematch, do you see them doing a trilogy? 100% doing a trilogy if Weili wins that rematch. It's just, Rose knocks her out in the first round. Now they're doing the rematch. Weili's in a bad spot if she loses this rematch, though, because I don't know where she goes from there. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Weili. She can't go up a division. She can't go down a division. It's really going to be one of those things where she's in a tough spot. So she's in a must-win spot. What do you guys think is better? UFC 268 or 269? UFC 269 right now, let me pull it up just so I can have it fresh off my top of my head, is looking like... Why can't I pull up UFC 269? Oh, because it's not all announced yet. You're going to have Charles Oliveira versus Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier. Brandon Moreno versus Alexandra Pantoja. You're going to have Amanda Nunes versus Julianna Pena. I think maybe Macy Barbara's fighting on the card. Maybe Nate Diaz versus Vicente Luque. I know the card's not official yet, but if all those fights happen, is that considered better than 268? It looks like 269 is going to be just as stacked as 268. Colby versus Usman, a close second, though. 268, best card of the year. I think it may be the best card on paper ever. I really think it may be the best card on paper ever. It's such a stacked fight card, guys. It's such a stacked fight card. It depends on which cards gets canceled fight. It's very true. I think a lot of the reason they stack those cards now is because there's so many pullouts. I think that's the reason. I mean, UFC 259. Let's go back and look at. I remember UFC 259 was stacked. I think UFC 259 was so stacked because they thought there might be fights falling out. I mean, listen to these fights: Jan Blachowicz, Israel Adesanya, Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson, Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling, Islam Makhachev versus Drew Dober, Thiago Santos versus Alexander Rakic. On the prelims, Dominic Cruz versus Casey Kenny, Song Yadong versus Kyler Phillips, Joseph Benavidez versus Askar Askarov, Kai Kara France versus Rogerio Bontorin. All great fights, even on the prelims. Tim Elliott was on the early prelims. Sean Brady was on the early prelims. Yaros Mektic was on the early prelims. Mario Batista versus Trevin Jones on the early prelims. UFC 259 was stacked like crazy. And I believe the real reason it was so stacked was because they were waiting for cancellations that never end up coming. Volkanovsky versus Ortega is getting slept on 100%. That's a great fight. That's a great card as well. Let's actually take a look at that card real quick. I love doing these. I do videos on the full cards, and you guys seem to like them. But that card's a great card too. Alexander Volkanovsky versus Brian Ortega. Great fight. Ortega looking great in his return against Korean Zombie. He's one fight removed from the beating of Max Holloway, and he's in a title shot. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. Co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko versus Lauren Murphy. That should be a Shevchenko for murder. Robbie Lawler versus Nick Diaz should be incredible. It's a nostalgic fight. Curtis Blades versus Georgina Rosenstrike. I love the stylistic matchup. Can Curtis Blades take him down and hold him down? Can Georgina Rosenstrike get another KO? That last second KO against Augusta Sakai was phenomenal. Jessica Andrade versus Cynthia Calvillo. Marlon Moraes versus Murav Davishvili. Dan Hooker versus Nasrat Haparas. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. So many great fights. Uros Mektic versus Jalen Turner's on the card as well. UFC 266 in general is being slept on just because of how good UFC 268 and 269 are. Joey, what will be the next champ fight? I'm hoping Valentina Shevchenko versus Amanda Nunes 3. It'll be Valentina Shevchenko challenging for that 135-pound belt. I hope that. I hope that will be the next champ fight. If not, who will be the next champ fight? I don't see anybody else really moving weight classes. Kamaru Usman, I could see, but he's not going to fight Israel Adesanya. They're too much of friends. So I don't really see that happening. UFC 267 is really what is being slept on. Yeah, UFC 267 is filthy too. What's going on, Jacqueline Buckley? Jacqueline Buckley. Thanks for stopping by the stream. UFC 260. We might as well. I've done pulled up every card so far. Let me pull up UFC 267 now, even though I've gone over these in litany a million times. UFC 267 Topology. Come on. Why aren't you coming up? Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira, Aljamain Sterling, Peter Yan 2. Damn, the whole card moved. Islam Makhachev versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Hamza Chimaev versus Jinling, whatever his name is. I can't pronounce it right now off the top of my head. Walt Harris versus Tai Tuivasa. Magomed Ankalaev versus Volkan Ozdemir, which should be an amazing 205 fight. Amanda Ribas is on the card. So many great fights. I mean, and that UFC 267 and UFC 268 is going to be back to back, which is crazy. So one Saturday we'll get UFC 267. One Saturday we're going to get UFC 268. If Poirier beats Oliveira, he could fight Usman. I don't think he wants that. Usman would spank Poirier. Poirier has no business at welterweight. I might be going to UFC 267. I hope you do, Dino. That'd be awesome. Guys, do me a favor. I like to ask this on a lot of the live streams. Where are you watching the live stream from right now? Where are you at? Be as specific or as unspecific as possible if you want. Put it in the chat right now. Where are you watching the live stream from? I'm curious where all my subscribers are from and the people who are participating in the live chat are from. I always love to hear it. And guys, thanks again for the people who signed up for the memberships. Pitties and STI. Fight Night Nation or Fight Life Nation? Fight Life Nation. Okay, I wanted to remember that. Thank you guys for becoming members of the channel. Texas is French fries. I know you said it before. I just love hearing it, man. Marshall's from Wales. I know we got a lot of UK people in this chat. How about Rose versus Valentina? I don't think Rose will want that smoke, Pitties. I really don't think she would. I mean, I think Rose would get slept by Valentina. And even if not, I think she would get out-grappled. Poirier's walk-around weight is 185 to 190. He can easily move to welterweight. Oh, Poirier can definitely easily move to welterweight. But he would be massively undersized against Kamaru Usman. I wouldn't doubt if Kamaru Usman walks around at 205. Dino's from Liverpool. Ginge asked a question there. But yeah, Poirier can definitely go to welterweight. I'm just saying I don't think it's a good idea career-wise. Maybe if he's going to retire and, that's his last fight he wants is to try to claim champ status, that's fine. But if he can't stuff Khabib Nurmagomedov's takedowns, I don't think he's going to be able to stuff a much larger Kamaru Usman. It just ain't going to happen. Yeah, Valentina, Merckx, Rose, I agree 100%, Yusuf. I agree 150%, actually. Let me exit. And I got a bunch of tabs open from discussing all these things. Valentina outstrikes Rose and out wrestles Rose. Exactly. Yep, agreed. Well, it's not quite livable. I just tell people that because it's easier. Okay. Well, guys, thanks for watching from all over the world. I really appreciate it. I may or may not be streaming this Saturday. I'm not 100% sure. I got some stuff to do, and it's a very early fight card. But if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, at least I'll be tweeting out while I'm watching the card at the bare minimum. If you guys have any final questions for the live chat today, put them in the chat. I appreciate you guys all joining me. I appreciate the people who signed up for the memberships. I appreciate you guys liking the stream. If you haven't already, it's a good time to like the stream. And any final questions or topics you guys want to talk about. And let me check real quick to make sure. Okay, I covered everything that I put in my description here. If you guys want to... Holy, it's storming like crazy outside right now, by the way. We're having like a partial hurricane come through here. And it's just raining its ass off here. I'm surprised I haven't lost power. It's windy as anything, too. I can see UK fighters cleaning up this weekend. Maybe, maybe not. Are you live streaming UFC on Saturday? I'm going to try to, but I may not be home in time. But I'm going to try to be. I'm going to try to. At least the main card, I'll try to be. But I'm not. I can't promise you anything. Because I got something I got to do on Saturday, so I may not be able to make it in time. And then when I get home, I'm probably going to not have time to set it all up and get ready to go, take a shower and whatnot, and stream. Well, I guess that pretty much wraps up this live chat. Thank you guys all for joining me. If you guys watch this live, I appreciate you. If you're watching this replay, I appreciate you as well. Enjoy the rest of your nights. I will be putting out a video on UFC 269 tonight at some point in time. Maybe in a half hour. I'm not 100% sure yet. Talking about the Dustin Poirier, Oliveira news and whatnot. So make sure you guys go check that out. And also check out this Saturday's prediction video. I worked hard on that. Go check out that prediction video. Thank you guys so much for joining me. And I will see you on the next live stream, which may or may not be on Saturday. Have a good rest of your night, guys.